We came so far from dreams. The path was hard for me. They thought we fall, you see. Well, look at us now, look at us now. We make it hot when we on the scene. Yeah, that's 1,000 degrees. I got a grind for me and my team. Yeah, you know we gon' eat. You see the crowds when we come around. You know that I roll with some kings. We shit it down, I don't hear a sound, but I ask you who better than we. Tell me who better than we. We soaring to places you never could reach. When we walk in that spot, don't hear none of you speak. Shh, do you want peace or the peace? A king about to put you to sleep. Listen, my team is elite. You not even qualified to compete. He starving, he barely can eat. I guess that's why he always itching for beef. So I put him on ice and I told him to chill. Close your mouth if you can't pay for the meal. Making statements that you know you don't mean. Nice guy trying to act like he mean. Keep it a buck, keep it a bean. Attitudes will put you dudes in the beam. Isekai, he don't live in reality. Shake back off, become a fatality. Yeah, how you gon' hate when you mirror us? He think he a star, he ain't serious. X him out, we not on the same frequency. If you broke, you ain't hearing us. Work the screw, anime, that's how I feel, period. We winning, that's making them furious. We make it high when we on the scene, yeah, that's 1,000 degrees. I got a grind for me and my team, yeah, you know we gon' eat. You see the crowds when we come around, you know that I roll with some kings. We shit it down, I don't hear a sound, but I ask you who better than we.
Yo, what it do, guys? It is your boy, Leon Mookie here, back with you with another new what if for you guys. And this is something I've been preparing for this channel for a while now, and I think it's about time to release it. This is what if Will had Ouroboros power. Mainly the power to switch between classes in the game. Mainly the classes that the 6 main characters in that of Xenoblade Chronicles 3 gains, after all, through that of, well, main storyline, story quest, hero's quest, and all that stuff. Unfortunately, I won't be using that of both Nia's and Melia's classes, because those are endgame stuff. And the same also has to be for that of, well, the main characters from that of Future Redeemed, after all. So basically Will will not have that of Shulk's, Rex's classes as well, given that those were DLC after all. Same also goes for the other DLC classes too, like that of Napon Champion and Lupus as well. Just the stuff that you get through the base game is anyway. So yeah, any rate, with all that said, let's get into this, shall we, guys? In a world shrouded by darkness, humanity lived in undeniable fear from the creatures that dwell within that darkness. However, all of that changed when the Queen of Mages, Mercedes Callis, created that of magic for all to use for humanity to defend themselves. But it wasn't enough, as 5 extraordinary and powerful mages, otherwise known as the Magiavander, created a barrier spell that basically surrounded the entirety of the world. And in doing so, creating this barrier, creating a blue sky, a sky that all of human and man and other races can enjoy. And thus, the Magiavander system was created to train the next generation of Magiavanders, to find those with that of extraordinary talents by creating magic academies all across the world. However, the world still needed power. The world still needed a protector, a sword, and thus the Queen had one last plan: to create a child, her own offspring, to be that sword, and a unique form of magic otherwise known as Weiss. But for some reason, she felt like it wasn't enough, that she needed something more, until it came a power from another world, a power that was meant to be erased with the world that it came from. But instead, it survived, believing that this power would be used for better than for worse. As the Queen saw this power, she gathered it. As looking at it, it looked like that of a dragon-like serpent, as it looks like it's basically eating its own tail, almost like that of infinity. Seeing this power, she couldn't help but smile. Before then, a person spoke up saying, "Are you sure about this? You already gave him the magic that he needed. Do you wish to give him more? Especially something from a foreign world?" As she looks at that of the child and looking closer, seeing that of a already growing blue hair, "I understand your concerns. Truly I do. However, this child, my child, will be the one to protect this world and the worlds after it as well. But with this power, I don't sense any malice, deceit, or threatening to anything. Instead, I can sense a power that only wishes to protect others. This power, the power of Ouroboros, alongside that of his own magic, will be necessary in protecting this world and the worlds of many as well." Within, the hooded figure can help but sigh, saying, "Do what you will. But, as I said, I'll look over the child while I can. Just don't put too much burden on yourself and him." Within, putting that of the baby boy close to her, she's saying, "Be strong, my Will." As the baby known as Will can help but coo at this, feeling like acknowledging that of the person considered his mother, encouraging and uplifting words. Many years later, as the boy known as Will grows up, he grows up in that of an orphanage, alongside that of many other kids. However, the boy known as Will basically wouldn't be close to many of those kids because of one thing: he lacks magic. Or rather, his magic is only circumstances without the proper tool. As for the power that he was given at birth as well, it hasn't reacted. It hasn't any need to react at all, which led to Will's childhood being a rough one, actually. However, not entirely rough, as one friend, one person who always stood by him no matter what, and that being a blue-haired girl by the name of Elphiria. As they both were left at the orphanage at the exact same time, the two were always inseparable. No matter where Will goes, Elphiria is always there. Whenever Elphiria goes, Will is always there too. Nothing can separate the two, no matter what. However, all that changed. Then one day, as they leave the orphanage to play around, they soon run into that of a mana beast. Basically a creature created by that of mana from a mage who wanted to use it either for that of, mundane things or for combat. Elphiria, frightened by this, tried to run away, even tried to basically get off that of a spell. However, no matter what she tries, her fear overwhelmed her. As the demonic bear-like creature basically lunges for Elfie. That's when Will stepped in to try and stop it. However, the 5-year-old boy wasn't even strong enough to do anything, as he was basically swatted away like that of a bug on a windshield. As Elphiria screams out, "Will!" Seeing that of her precious childhood friend and the person that she begins to fall for was in danger, she finally releases an ice spell, basically an icicle, and strikes that of the mana beast. Within, having the icicle basically enlarged into that of its left shoulder, it soon basically releases something off its back, as it looks like that of a sword actually. As it soon basically slumps down to the ground in front of Will, who's getting his bearings. Seeing that of the blade, and seeing Elphiria still somewhat shocked, but standing her ground, he didn't want to leave her be. Grabbing the blade, and what little might that of the 5-year-old boy could do, rushes towards the monster with all of his might, and strikes and tries to strike down. However, even that of his strength wasn't enough. Before then, the demonic bear-like creature swats Will back once more, with Elfiria sending another ice spike into it. And then heading to Will. At the same time, his vision begins to get a little bit blurry as he can almost feel something channeling through his body. Something building, charging, growing. As even his vision begins to get a little blurry, like almost something glowing in his eyes. But it's not like he cares about that. What he cares about is protecting Elfie. Within, Elfiria heading to that of Will, saying, "Will, please, get up!" Before then, Will still stands his ground. Before then, Elfiria, still having that of residue of her ice magic spell that she released, grabs onto the sword, grabs onto that of Will's hand, but at the same time doing so, the ice begins, Will's body begins to react to that of the ice, causing that of the ice magic and residue of the mana to coat around that of the sword. Before then, ice spikes begin to emerge from that of the sword, shocking both that of the two orphan children. Within, Will saying, What's this? What's going on?" Within, Elfie saying, I don't know, but Will, you're..." Without warning, that of the newly made magic ice sword begins to go out of haywire. It begins to become too powerful for that of Will to channel and control, freaking him out. Before even Elfie having a hard time trying to control that of the magic as well, feeling like it's too much for that of her body, even as a prodigy that she is. But at the same time, while Will is freaking out, that's when something finally snaps inside of him. Something begins to glow, and then seeing that of the symbol from all those years ago, since the day of his birth, that the dragon-like serpent eating his tail soon materializes in that of a bright blue. Before then, materializing in front of Will is that of a sword that basically looks like not any other normal sword, but something that's calling him. At the same time, while his magic is basically consuming him, and that of the mana beast, he grabs the sword subconsciously, and then that of a bright digital golden light materializes in front of Will, as it looks like that of a weirdly shaped but somewhat beautiful crafted red sword. With Will completely shocked about this, however, at the same time, while grabbing onto the sword, a bright blue energy-like blade materializes from that of the sword. But at the same time, that's when the ice magic begins to coat around the sword too. Feeling like Will's about to lose control, however, instead, the ice magic from the sword that was already in that of his, left hand, begins to calm down, and then channel around that of his right arm, where the red sword is, creating like that of ice-like spikes on the edge of the blade, as that of the blue-like energy also making that of the blade, the double-edged blade as well. Within, seeing this, Will, wanting to protect Elfie, not holding anything back, runs to that of the mana beast, and with only needing 2 slashes to cut the beast, creating the X-shaped slash over its body, as ice coats around the entirety of the beast. At the same time, it soon completely shatters, as the area around them also completely coated in ice as well, leaving Will utterly exhausted. But as soon as he saw that Elfie was safe and sound, that's all that he cared about, before losing consciousness. Within, Elfie basically running towards Will, trying to wake him up, saying, "Will, please, wake up! Wake up, please! Don't die on me!" Before then, hearing a voice saying, No need to worry, little girl. Your little friend there just suffered that of mana exhaustion when you use up too much of your mana within. But real surprised that he even has mana to begin with, given that I don't sense a single drop of magic coming from him. With Elfiria a little bit scared and worried for that of Will, seeing that of a man with that of magic robes and a cloak, and his face obscured by that of a large magic wet mage hat. But only you could see his mouth saying, huh? Oh, yeah, guess it would be a little bit suspicious seeing a mage coming through the forest. Don't need to worry. I'm not gonna hurt the both of you. I heard about that mana beast in the area, so I came to take care of it. Little didn't I know, 2 little prodigy mages were able to take care of it. Not half bad, and one of them having a unique ability to create that of have magic swords and also create that of a red sword as well. Intriguing. Talent like this doesn't come by this easily. With then she's saying, Who are you? With then saying, huh? Oh, my name is not really that important, kiddo. Just call me a wandering mage who just likes doing what he can to help those in need. Leaving Elfie completely, utterly shocked by this. Within, after that, the elderly man began to heal that of Will and bring back the 2 orphans to the Serfort orphanage, where their caretaker and basically, foster father, Ashley Serfort, was worried about the 2, thanking the mage for bringing them back and for protecting them. But then, him saying that both kids have potential to be something great. With the man saying that, Elfie is talented, so not just her, the boy too. With Ashley saying, "Wait, Will, but I know what you're thinking, but trust me, that kid's got talent after all." Leaving that of the orphanage caretaker to be shocked by this, before the man saying, "Take care. Once those kids reach 10, tell them to head to that of Red Garden Magic Academy. I'll give them my regards ahead of time." Within, Ashley still's completely shocked while having that of the 2 orphan boy and girl in his hands. Ever since that day, Will awakened his magic twice. However, he can't, use it actually. Or rather, he forgot to, showing that his magic has a toll on his mental status. However, as for that of the red sword he gained, he's able to bring that out pretty easily, actually. Even showing it off to that of the other orphan kids and, foster siblings after all. With even Ashley completely shocked by this too. Thinking that mage that brought him back was not just talking out of his ass after all. With that, it also showed that of, that of the glowing Will's right eye actually. But not a lot of people can see it actually outside of Elfie, but deciding to keep it a secret for now before telling Will. Since then, growing up, Will decided to train with that of the sword that he has. And not only that, also knowing its name. And that sword is Truthseeker. He doesn't know why, but it just feels like that's the name that he should call this sword while training with it. Not to mention, this would also be the day that he made the promise with Elfie. The day that the 2 of them would become Magiavanders, would reach the top of the tower and see the sunset together. This would also be the spark of how they both would fall in love with one another as well. Over the few couple of years, Will has unlocked that of other classes from that of the power of Ouroboros, which he still doesn't even know this power is called. But all he does is that he calls it classes to make it easier for those who ask after all. Because when basically making the sword, when making that of Truthseeker, it changes his attire, giving him that of a red jacket. No matter what other, appearance or clothes he wears, the red jacket always materializes over him after all, no matter what. But not just that, he gains that of other classes through that of the next 5 years before heading to Red Garden Academy, a class that basically uses that of dual ring chakra blades, otherwise known as Zephyr, which gives him that of a, white jacket. Another class, otherwise known as Heavy Guard, which gives him that of a massive, a massive blade. However, what caught him off guard is that the blade it isn't just a massive blade with that of the somewhat same glowing edge, energy-like edge like that of Truthseeker, but it also becomes something weird, like some kind of mobile platform, like that of a, ballista actually, that shoots like that of, energy constructs from that of the blade's guard. Basically, Will is bringing up that of the turret guard form that Lance's heavy blade can do. Not to mention, it gives him a large, puffy fur coat as well, with no sleeves too. The other class that he gains is otherwise known as Ogre, which gives him a sleeveless short blue mini jacket actually. But what catches Will off guard a lot is basically giving him a massive hammer that can even close in on itself and turn into that of a spinning buzzsaw mace ball actually, which he could basically chuck at people and always comes right back like a boomerang, just like that of his chakra blades for Zephyr. Then there's that of his other class, otherwise known as Medic Gunner, which he, again, has no idea about whatsoever. He'd never even heard of a thing called a gun before. When he found out about what it does, when he basically pulled that of the healing staff trigger, let's just say it caused a lot of problems for him and his foster father, Ashley. But other than that, he now figures out how to use it pretty well, mainly just using it for that of healing after all, since it's used for that of long range and also that of and for healing others after, to be honest. Not to mention, gives him that of a pretty snazzy, black and green jacket after all. And last but not least, another class that he gained during these years, that being Tactician. At first, it was weird. However, it actually felt the closest thing to basically being able to use magic, actually, as it basically uses that of certain talismans that would be seen during that of the Middle East areas of this world, actually, that are also known as Mondo, that he can use to basically attack up to that of attack, and it didn't have any, elemental magic affinity towards it at all, except that of being able to heal others, actually, just like that of Medic Gunner after all. Not to mention, gives him that of a white button-up shirt with that of a orange scarf. As Will won't lie, and it does clash a lot with that of his blue hair after all, which Elfie says a lot. But she says she does like it either way. Whatever Will wears looks good on him, in her words. And finally, they've reached the age of 10, which they arrive at that of Red Garden Academy. There, Will and Elfie would achieve their dreams of becoming Magia Vander together. However, that dream, or that goal for them to be together, would only last for only that of a few months. Mainly because Elfie was able to show off that of her first spell that she made when she was only 3 years old, after all. The spell to create that of ice clones of herself, to be honest. She only created that spell just to spend time with Will, to be honest, when she couldn't. And now it already cements herself as to becoming that of a Magia Vander already, as Elfie wanted to basically deny this, as she planned on becoming Magia Vanders together with Will, that they would rank up together, spend time together. However, Will, aware of how talented and how amazing Elfie could be, deciding to tell her to not miss this opportunity. As after that, the two went separate ways, but without saying other things. With Will screaming, "I'll be there! I'll reach the top alongside you no matter what! So we can both see the sunset together! So please, just wait for me!" Within hearing those words, Elfie couldn't help but begin to start to cry, but then realize, of course she will. As she looks back at Will with that of a sullen, sad look, but a look of conviction as well, before pulling something from that of her behind that of her skirt pocket, before then offering it to Will as it being a pair of goggles to help him in that of the dungeon and when he trains as well, as these goggles would be a symbol of their love for each other. But right after Elfie ascended to the tower, that's when Will's life begins to go downhill. As everybody began to look down on Will, everybody began to see him as useless, a nobody, mainly because of his lack of magic and mana. And you could say, what about that of his Ouroboros powers, though? Surely, technically, ether and magic are two completely different things. Even though ether seems like that of magic, it's not. Not to mention, if Will even shows off that of his Ouroboros power or his classes, some people wouldn't even see it as that of true magic and would just see it as some kind of parlor trick or some kind of abomination of a power. However, two instructors of the school saw this power and this potential. The Magic Fundamentals instructor, Professor Wagner, who saw potential in Will's abilities. Even if he doesn't have a single brand of magic, he's a hard worker, he trains, and he gives it his all in that of his classes, even after losing Alpheria. However, the headmaster of Red Garden Academy, head mistress Cauldron, an elderly woman that has that of a kind-hearted aura and face and look to her. However, that kind look is far more than what people expect, as the glasses-wearing, silver-haired professor tries to vouch for that of Will, saying about that of his talents and abilities, that he can do more than just that of use magic. However, soon, Headmistress Cauldron basically creates that of a spell, which soon materializes that of a short sword in Will's hands, however, leaving Wartner completely shocked and confused. Before then, several magic circles materializing that of fireballs. As then pushing Wartner out of the way, he soon slices away at the fireballs without even breaking a sweat. However, one fireball was heading straight for him, before then materializing Truthseeker and slicing away at that of the fireball that he couldn't react in time with that of the short sword, leaving them both completely and utterly shocked by this, as he dual wields both swords. Within, Cauldron saying, "I knew there was something special about you. The one who recommended you and Alpheria didn't, make up things at all, as I expected, but to think that a sword like that even exists." Within, looking at that of Truthseeker with that of awe, after all, even that of Wartner couldn't help but be completely shocked by that of Will's, other sword. Within saying, "I'm guessing since I lied about this, or I didn't show it at all, I'm guessing I'm getting expelled." Within, Cauldron saying, "Hardly, my boy. You just make things even more interesting. Unfortunately, it doesn't radiate any form of magic, and most people wouldn't think much about it, but I can sense power coming from it. Power that is most definitely from another world, just like the elves and dwarves. So, how about I make a proposition for you, young Serfort?" Within, looking at that of the headmistress, saying, "Show me the potential. Show me everything that you know about this so-called power of yours that you call," realizing she wants to answer on what he calls this, saying, "I call them my classes. And this is called Truthseeker. I have at least 5 other classes alongside this." Within, she's saying, interesting, very interesting. I would like to know details, analyzations, and note. And I hear that you're an amazing note taker. Give me reports on each and every one of your classes and improve on them while you're in the dungeon. And then report them back to me. As you do so, I will gain you that of several credits depending on what I hear about them. How does that sound? Within hearing this, Will couldn't help but say, yes, ma'am, I'll take this deal. I promise. I'll give it my all. I'll study my classes. I'll give it everything I can to prove I'm worthy to be a Magiavander. I'm worthy to be at this school. Headmistress Cauldron couldn't help but have that of an actual genuine smile, besides the fake one she plastically wears, saying, I would like to see that, young Serfort. Within, looking at that of Wartner, who got off the ground, saying, Wartner, please look after the boy, and in case he is unable to get to me, please take his notes that he writes down when studying his classes. Within hearing this, Wartner stands in place saying, yes, ma'am, I'll make sure. Within, she's saying, good. Now both of you boys, go on. With that, within Will saying, oh, what about keep the short sword? See it as necessary training after all. Within hearing that, Will saying, yes, ma'am. After putting the short sword in its sheath, and then dematerializing that of Truthseeker, Wartner and Will soon head out of the headmistress office. Before then, she couldn't help but sigh, saying, to think not only he's skilled with a sword, but he also has a unique power. I knew that disciple of mine had always liked looking at those with potential, but he brought me two people who had nothing but endless potential. The worst part is, the boy is also a sword, which means I would have to get in contact with Flynn. But personally, within, she having that of a devious smile saying, I'd rather not have to deal with that annoying immortal after all. How about I keep things secretive, for now at least? As Headmaster Cauldron basically goes to that, her begins to make some tea for herself to calm down that of her nerves and to enjoy that of the surprises her newest prize pupil will have in store for her. And that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please tell me what you guys think in the comments below. I'd love to read them. Sorry that I didn't go into full-on details about this. Honestly, I wanted to focus more on that of building up Will's powers and gaining that of the Ouroboros powers after all. And in case you're wondering, yes, he will be gaining more of the other classes, like I said in the beginning of the video. No DLC classes, no endgame classes, just every basic classes you can find in that of, well, Xenoblade Chronicles 3. While going through his 6 years at that of, well, Red Garden Academy, he'll be unlocking each and every one of the Xenoblade 3 classes. And I can also tell this is pretty similar to how it was for that of what if Will was the reincarnation of Clive. And honestly, I get it. But it kind of makes sense, to be fair. Because, to be honest, the people in that of Wistoria are pretty goddamn prejudiced. And you thought the nobles in that of Black Clover were prejudiced? Trust me, the mages in Wistoria are goddamn worse, to be honest. I mean, look how they saw that of Will's, well, wife's magic after all. Hell, they didn't even see it as magic before later on in that of the college arc after all. So yeah, at any rate, if you guys like this, please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell notification, keep to date my videos uploaded to the channel. Also, please check out my Discord, my gaming channel, my other channel, my side channel, my Patreon, my Cash App, and my PayPal. All linked in the description below. So, with all that said, this is Leon Mookie, signing out. Later guys, hope you all take care. And sorry about the fireworks in the background. Do your thing, Shiro.
Hi everyone, this is White Fox. If you liked Leon's video, click the video on the left to see the most recent one. And if you want to see more of this, click the subscribe button and notification bell and check out his playlists. If you still haven't subscribed, do so in the center. With that said, I hope to see you again on my love's channel. Bye!